It's first pitch time here on WagerTalk TV, and just 9 games on the board, but we're going to have plays for you in over half of them. That's right. We're talking Yankees, Braves, Orioles in San Diego, the Giants hosting the Rays, Houston against Miami, and the Mariners taking on the Royals. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, on a Monday edition. Let's get right into it with our experts. We got Drew Martin, Bryan Leonard, and Dwayne Bryant ready to get you some winners here to start off the week. Speaking of winners, we're going to kick it off with Drew Martin, who's 72%. No big deal over the last 3 weeks. So, Drew, we've been loving riding with you over this little stretch that we've had here. But let's talk a little Yankees and Bravos. It's Schmidt versus Fried. It's looking like to kick off this interleague series. So, Drew, first word here on the start of the week. How are you breaking this one down, brother?
Sure, Dan. And, both of these two teams coming off of tough losses. And I know because I watched both games, Dan. And I mean, if you watch that Yankees-Marlins game, as a Marlins fan, it was fun to watch. As a Yankees fan, I'm sure it hurt a bunch, and giving it up in the 9th inning. It's kind of been one of those seasons for the Yankees. They're still over 500, but at the bottom of the AL East standings. They're not out of the playoffs yet. But on the other side of things, the Braves, best record in baseball, guys, 75-42. This lineup is just ridiculous how talented they are from top to bottom of the lineup. Having said all that, and I had a wager on them last night that went down. They did lose by 1 run to the New York Mets in Sunday Night Baseball. I actually think, Dan, they bounce back here. Now, it is a price tag. It has come down below -$2. That's the reason it's not on my client card here tonight, Dan. But if you're okay with laying some wood here, -195, I think the Braves really take it to the Yankees, going for their 6th straight National League East title. Talked about their lineup overall. This is a lineup that leads Major League Baseball in home runs, 227 home runs year to date. They're on pace for 314 home runs for the season. That would be an MLB record. They're the number 1 lineup against righties. They get a righty tonight in Schmidt. And last thing here, guys, this is what I kind of refer to as I like to think sharp angle, but we get a young pitcher in Schmidt. He's from right outside of Atlanta. He grew up a Braves fan. He idolized a lot of those good Braves teams, in the 90s, if you might remember. So he's coming back and pitching in Atlanta for the first time in his career. A lot of people would think oh, I want to look to bet on him. I'm actually the other way. Think about all of his high school buddies, all of his childhood friends texting him, hey, I need some tickets. He's supposedly got over 50 family and friends attending the game. I'm going to look to fade him here. Up against Max Fried, one of the better pitchers in baseball. The Atlanta Braves are 5-0 on the road when Fried is the pitcher here. I think they make it 6-0 tonight. So got to lay some wood here. Maybe try to get it down to the -1 line. I don't recommend betting -1.5 run line here with the home teams. But the Braves, I'm looking to be on the Bravos tonight, Dan.
I like it. And Drew Martin coming up immediately following this show on the opening line report with our man Teddy covers. Some more reason ever to like and subscribe here on WagerTalk TV. Speaking of doubleheaders, Bryan Leonard did a little bit of a doubleheader today. He was on WagerTalk today, and now he's joining us here on First Pitch, but breaking down 4 different games. Bryan just giving it all away today. Let's talk a little Rays and Giants, as the Rays, they're just looking to keep that hold that they kind of have on this wild card race. They're making the rare trip to San Francisco this evening. So what are you thinking for your big game breakdown, Bryan?
Yeah, it becomes even more interesting now that we're getting some information about Wander Franco and a 14-year-old. So I don't even think he made the trip to San Francisco. He won't be playing tonight. So he's already dated more 14-year-olds than I did when I was 14. So we'll go with that. We'll leave it at that at this point right now. But yeah, Tampa Bay, Tyler Glass now returns to the mound after some back tightness his last time out. Missed his start in that regard, but he's been excellent. 3.14 ERA, 1.08 WHIP. And if you take a look at his advanced numbers, they've been even better. 2.67 xFIP, 2.99 Sierra. His 34 and a half strike percentage is by far the most impressive of all the pitchers on the Monday card. And strike percentage is beginning to be more popular. When you throw strikes, you're out of the inning quicker. We see a lot of guys, especially a lot of young players, that don't want to throw strikes because these are their idols they'll be facing. But once you have the confidence to be able to throw strikes on a regular basis, a lot of good things can happen, and that's what Tyler Glasnow has done. Ryan Walker's put up some impressive numbers on his own right so far this season. He's been a bulk reliever and also an opener. His StatCast profile is right across the board, so he's done very well. He's really kept the opposition off balance. That's what he's good for. But as I mentioned, he's only a bulk reliever or an opener, so he won't be in the game very long. But he's done very well so far this season. On the year, the Rays have a plus 139 run advantage while playing in the strongest division in baseball. The Giants, pretty good division themselves in the NL West, are only a plus 18 on the season. So we got a Tampa Bay team, by far the better run differential, playing in the tougher division. Now, I know they'll be out without Wander Franco today, but looks to be a lower scoring affair for myself. So I see a slight advantage here with the visitor, according to our numbers, and I think it'll be a long night offensively for the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, and as you said, heading in, what an insane situation going on there. All the Tampa Bay Rays said is, hey, mutual agreed he's going on the restricted list. Once the due diligence is done, Franco might have a lot more to worry about than just missing out on some baseball games. That's what we'll say here. That's for darn sure. Dwayne, Bryan, let's swing it on down to my co-birthday man. We celebrated over the weekend, and you can still celebrate with the birthday special he has running. It ends tonight. Head on over to his page to find out more about that. But let's start with your big game breakdown. It's Astros and the Marlins and the Fish. They're looking for that first 3-game winning streaks since early July. So what do we think? Does it start tonight? Does it finally come when Houston comes to town? What do you think, Dwayne?
Yeah, I don't know about that. We got a pair of lefties going here, Framber Valdez and Braxton Garrett. Valdez, actually, he threw that no-hitter 2 starts ago, but, the other 4 out of his last 5 starts have all been mediocre or worse. And Braxton Garrett, he's pitched way worse at home this season as compared to the road. We do have a low total here, and I understand it. I get why. But there's actually a lot of reasons to consider the over in this game. Houston's got a 110 WRC plus on the road against left-handed pitching. That's 10% above average. Miami's actually got a 120 WRC plus at home against left-handed pitching, which is 20% above average. A couple of trends to note for this season. The over is 5-0 with Valdez on the mound as a road favorite of more than minus 115. These games went over by 5.3 runs per game. The over is also 13-1 this season when Houston is off a 1-run loss and the total is under 11. And lastly, the over is 14-0 this season when Houston plays on a Monday. Now, I'm not a guy that cares for these MLB trends that point to a specific day of the week, but it's hard to ignore a trend that is current season that's 14-0 and these games have gone over by 4.5 runs per game. So, it's not like these games have been, sneaking over the total by a half run a game. These games are sailing way over the total. So to get 14 of them by that much of a margin, that's pretty impressive, and like I said, very hard to ignore. I have not bet this game, but I can see plenty of reasons why you could bet the over in this one.
Yeah, great breakdown there. For the big game breakdown from Dwayne Bryant, WT.buzz/DB. Check him out. And Drew, you're going to be the first of 3 of us here to talk about this Orioles and Padres game. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you're thinking in this matchup. But first, let us know what you got rocking for $9 Monday as a guy who's on just a mere 13 and 5 runs. You got anything up for clients, and how are you looking to bet this game?
Sure, Dan. In bounce back mode as well off of that tough loss last night. So got a good one up here, discounted to just $9, 72% over the last 3 weeks. Dan, yeah, I'm jumping after this one. Look, Petco Park, beautiful ballpark, San Diego, beautiful weather, great city, love Southern California, and you, Darvish, celebrating. Speaking of birthdays, Dan Alexander, he shares one with you as well. He turned 37 this week, and I actually think that is the wrong side, though. I don't think it's going to be like this birthday special where he shuts down the Orioles. I like this Baltimore Orioles offense, Dan. I really do. Them catching plus money here. Plus 128. So risk 100 to win 128. I almost think it's wrong team favored. We get the Padres here. If you guys remember, out the gate, they were in the 92 season win total price range. I think they're still kind of being priced like that team preseason. They've lost over 20 units this season. They burned a whole lot of money if you've been betting on the Padres here. They've lost 6 of their last 7, multiple games as a sizable favorite here. So I'm looking to go against them. Fernando Tatis, don't look now, but his repaired shoulder from the offseason, he's dealing with soreness right now. We get the Orioles, their next 4 games. If you like the Orioles' future as well, guys, like to win the AL East, to do anything in the playoffs, now would be a good time to bet them. They got the Padres, then the A's, then the Rockies, then the White Sox, all teams under 500. I think they're going on a run starting tonight here. Plus 128, wrong team favored. Give me the O's, Dan.
Give him the O's, and I'm wondering what Brian Leonard has to say because, Drew kind of touched upon it there. This San Diego team is just not what they're being priced at currently, and they also start a huge homestand coming up when you're talking about potential playoff, implications, and they really need it after that 1-4 road trip. So what do you think, Brian? You're looking at this game as well. Do you agree with how Drew's kind of seeing this one as far as the pricing goes?
Yeah, it's funny that all 3 of us are on this, and I did the Wager Talk Today show, and Marco D'Angelo broke this game down. So a lot of interest in this game. Let's see if I can end up on the same side as Drew, which is always something that I try to do. He's been a terrific baseball handicapper, and yes, I agree. I'm with Baltimore here. We've been riding Grayson Rodriguez since his return to the majors because he struggled so much the first time through the league. We've been getting some nice bettable numbers as of late on him. And I think we get some more here, as I agree. He said he thinks the wrong team's favored. I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore takes all the money going against tonight's game, and we could see that. So if you like Baltimore, I would play him right now. You're taking a look at Rodriguez. His ERA sits at 5.84 on this season, but if you take a look at his xFIP, 3.88 and his Sierra 4.21. So he's a guy with a lot more positive regression in his bag here. So we like that situation. It's also been a bit unfortunate with the 332 BABIP. So we've got a guy we're looking to bet on now. And I think because of what happened earlier this season, we continue to take advantage of these numbers. You, Darvish, happy birthday to you and happy birthday to both of you. Lots of 3 U's here. But put up good numbers this year. But now what we've come to expect from the Padre ace, all of his X stats, which are his advanced stats, are higher this season when compared to his history. His K percentage, strike percentage on the season is 25%. That's a career low. So he's taken more pitches to be able to get the batters into a bad pitching situation, bad hitting situation, So he's a hell of a pitcher, but he's not at his best this season. Drew touched on this. The Orioles are clearly the hotter team right now, playing much better ball over a sizable slate of games. The Padres continue to find ways to lose. They've got probably the best closer in baseball, and yet they're losing all these one-run games. They're the only team in baseball with a positive run differential with a losing record. They're plus 57 runs, and yet 56 and 62 on the year. I don't want to trust San Diego in a win situation against a red-hot Baltimore team with what I consider to be an equal or, if not better, starting pitcher. So give me the Orioles at this price.
Back-to-back plays on the Orioles, and yet, Brian, with all those U's, all I could hear in my head was the courtroom scene from My Cousin Vinny, the 2 Utes going back and forth there. Yep, 2 Utes. Is that 1 Ute? 2 Utes. So that's Brian Leonard. Check him out. No plays loaded today. He's passing, but he gave you 4 different free plays between today's show on First Pitch and over at Wager Talk today. So go and check that out right here on the Wager Talk TV YouTube channel. Dwayne Bryant, marching to the beat of your own drum. You don't have a best bet for us in this Orioles and Padres game. Instead, you're going to break down a completely different game here and talk a little Mariners and Royals. And prior to that extra inning loss, man, the Mariners ripped off 8 straight, so they get right back to it. Or you think there might be a little hangover here against the Royals? How are you betting it, Dwayne?
No, I'm going to switch and just take the Orioles and just agree with the other two guys so we can wrap it up. And, I mean, seriously, if Brian and Drew are both on the Orioles, that's enough for me to go get to the window on that game too as well. So anyway, I'm going to take a road, I think, a little less traveled here. And this isn't just my show best bet. It's also my hold your nose play of the day here. Because I'm going to recommend taking the Royals in the first 5 innings. It was plus 115 last I checked. We got Logan Gilbert and Brady Singer going today. And Singer tends to get better as the season progresses. He's much better during the second half of seasons throughout his career. And he's pitched much better at home this season as compared to the road. And when you look at Logan Gilbert, he's off a dominant start against San Diego. 7 shutout innings, only gave up 1 hit, no walks, 12 strikeouts, very dominant. But this season, in every instance but one, he's followed up a dominant outing with a mediocre one or worse. And another thing to note on Gilbert is that August has been by far the worst month for him in his 3-year career. Then I looked at the head-to-heads here against these guys. Casey's hitters against Logan Gilbert, 409 average, 506 weighted on base average. Seattle's hitters against Brady Singer, only a 143 average and a 206 weighted on base average. Now, that certainly doesn't guarantee anything this time around, but I'd certainly rather have it that way than the other way around. And Kansas City, believe it or not, is actually 4-0 in their last 4 games as an underdog in a home night game against a right-handed starter. So, I mean, that might be the only category where they've got a winning record recently. But I would never take Kansas City full game here. Seattle has, just too much of a bullpen edge over Kansas City in this game. But we don't need the Royals to win this game. We're going first 5. We just need them to be up a run through 5 innings. And if it's tied after 5, it's a push. So, no harm, no foul there. Just looks like a good spot for me to take the Royals in the first 5 at home at plus money, just based on what I said about these 2 starting pitchers and how things break down with them.
I should have ran to the bathroom, grabbed some Tums so we could have a little antacid, hold your nose, sweat it out kind of play of the day. But like he said, you don't have to have them win outright. We're just looking for them in the first 5 at a nice plus money price. That's the Royals over the Mariners in the first 5. Yeah. That's a great breakdown, brother. I love it. That's my man, Dwayne Bryant. And you can use code DB999, save $1,000 on his all access. Check that out over at his page. Guys, I don't think we talked about this Padres and Orioles game enough tonight. So let me start with our gold sheet play of the day and talk Padres and Orioles, but we're looking towards the total in this one, says thegoldsheet.com. We're going with the over 8. And a lot of it echoes kind of what the guys were breaking down there. And we'll start with Grayson Rodriguez. He's in the bottom 3rd among pitchers in walk rate this season. This Padres lineup has the league's best walk rate against right-handed pitching. So again, echoing those sentiments. And the Orioles, they played back-to-back extra inning games in Seattle over the weekend. 3 key relievers were pitching on back-to-back days entering today's contest. And then you just look at what the Padres have done since the calendar flipped to August. Padres games are averaging over 10 runs per game. It's looking like 10.63 runs per game. So Drew and Brian on the O's and the gold sheet on the over the 8 points here, 8 scores here today. Padres, Orioles, that's your gold sheet play of the day. And there you go. Over half of the slate broken down for you here live on WagerTalk TV. Make sure you like and subscribe. And you football fans, don't go anywhere, because coming up right now here on the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel is the opening line report with Drew Martin and Teddy Covers. We'll see you tomorrow here on First Pick.